Before I make this video, I need a cuppa. So you're going to have to bear with me on this one. So, hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you already watch my channel. I don't know. If it's your first time, please check my other videos. Anyway, listen. Enough of that YouTube rubbish. I wanted to address some questions really, and the biggest question, or the question that I get asked the most is why I choose to live like this. Why do I choose, or why do I live in a boat, and why do I live in a van as opposed to a brick house, which is obviously the most conventional way of doing things. Anyway, so I'm going to run you through really why I live like this, and take you on a bit of a journey, hopefully a very brief journey, because I don't want to bore you all too much with the story of my life, but it's something that I get asked a lot, so it's something that you probably want to know, and it's something that some people might appreciate and get a better understanding of what's going on. Anyway, so up until 6 months ago, my entire life has been in a brick house. Like most other people's, I've moved from house to house. Usually, like a lot of people, it's you move with a new relationship or something like that. I've not lived with my parents for 21 years. So for 21 years, I've been a proper grown-up, and I've done grown-up things, and for some reason in those 21 years I haven't got a mortgage. For some reason in those 21 years I've not bought a house or anything, or gone that route, and I don't know why. I guess things just change. I've not been stable enough in 21 years, which is pretty depressing, but in 21 years I've not been stable enough to have any money behind me, or really want to actually. I don't, you know, I've had money. There have been times where I've had enough for a deposit for a house in my bank account, and decided to spend it on drinking. Spend it on drinking and going out and getting drunk. Mainly in my 20s. Anyway, listen, I'm in my 30s now. Things are different. So in my 30s, I got married. I had a child. Rented a place. Again, still never bought anywhere. I don't really know if people buy houses these days, or if that's a thing. I don't think many younger people are able to buy houses. Deposits are ridiculous. Mortgages are hard to get. I, like a lot of other people, didn't have a very good credit rating based on debts that I had from being in my early 20s when the banks were throwing money at us young'uns. But anyway, that recovered. I'm not really in any debt anymore. However, back to why I live like this. So that was a bit of a background, as you know, my life story and that. But anyway, so again, for the last 21 years, I've lived on my own, as in not lived with my parents, and had relationships and lived with partners and wives and children and all that kind of thing. So 6 months ago, I left a relationship. That relationship and that part of my life was what it was. It was a conventional relationship, as in I lived in a conventional house, and there were 2 children and all that kind of thing, and it was what it was. That relationship ended, and I had to, well, I didn't really have to. I had a camper van, I had a T5, so just for that moment in time, it was like the week before payday or something. I didn't have any money, and so I sold my TV and I sold my PlayStation as I was moving out of the house where I was in the relationship. So it gave me a few £100, like 400 quid I think. I put that in my pocket, stayed in my van, and I just thought, you know what, I think I could do this full time. Now, going back a bit further, I was very involved in watching YouTube, and this channel is quite old. Well, a year old, I think. But some of the channels that I watched the most were narrowboat channels and van channels. So I already had an understanding. I had some friends that already lived in vans, and they were doing quite well. So it wasn't a difficult decision for me to stay in my van. So I decided just to do it. I had to talk to my daughter's mum, and she thought it was a bit strange, and she was worried, but she understood that what I was doing was to give Alice something different and spend more quality time doing quality things. So we lived in the T5 for, I think, about a month to start with. We lived in the T5 about a month, and then at that point, Alice, being 7, well, she was 6 at the time, started to complain about things in the T5. Obviously, those who know T5s, they're not very big, they're very small. The headroom was about, well, where it is now. If I was sat down, the ceiling was about this high. So there were issues with her going to the toilet and things like that, and her feeling a little bit unsafe with the places that we're parking. And just by coincidence, by accident, the boat came up, so I took a punt on that, and Alice really likes the boat. So now, I did say back then that if I had to choose between the van and the boat, if I had a bigger van, that the van would win. And now I have this van. So I bought this about 2 months ago. Have made it into something livable, and here we are. So now I have a boat and a van, and I live happily and peacefully for the most part. Now, what a lot of people think is, especially going back, so the first week that I moved into the T5, I had people coming to me, desperately trying to help me, as if I was in some sort of crisis. So they were saying, right, you can come stay at my place, I can give you the money for a deposit on an apartment or something, come round to mine, I'll cook for you and all that. And they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant, that people came to my aid when they thought I needed it. However, I couldn't really explain to people that wasn't what, I wasn't living in a van out of desperation, I was living in a van out of choice. Two completely different things. And for me, it was a choice. Some people are desperate and have nowhere else to go, that's fine, but for me it was a choice. Now, I'm lucky enough to be in full-time employment. At the time I was in part-time employment, so I could spend more time travelling or being in the van or doing nice things than I was working. Now the balance has shifted a little bit, I'm working more than I'm able to get out, but still, I have a decent wage. This isn't that I can't afford to rent anywhere or buy anywhere. This is a choice not to do that. This van for me is better than any apartment that I've ever lived in. The boat, again, better than any place I've lived in before. It's incredible. The boat, again, I say it all the time, is exciting. The fact that I wake up on water every day is incredible. So again, I just wanted to highlight to people the fact that this lifestyle is a choice for me, it's a choice for other people also. It isn't that, I think that there is a stigma involved in people living in their vans, and I think that's wrong. I think that people do get people wrong. I know some people that have lived in vans out of choice for many years, and they're doing really well, and they've got money in their bank, and really decent vans. There are a lot of people that I've met recently with vans that cost upwards of 40 grand, and that's their choice to do that. You know, this obviously was nowhere near 40 grand, but again, still my choice, and I've got money spare. My outgoings are very, very little. I mean, the the fact the boat means that I do have some outgoings. If it was just the van, I would just have car insurance and tax to pay and fuel. However, the boat is a bit more expensive because of the moorings and licenses and insurance and all that. But just van life on its own, you can do it on a pittance. You could probably do van life just on like job seekers allowance or universal credit or whatever it's called, if that's what you were able to do or wanted to do. So what I would say to people if they were interested in doing this kind of thing would be absolutely at least give it a shot. You know, what's the worst that could happen? You go back into an apartment in 6 months' time if you don't like it, 3 months' time, who knows? But give it a go, because I wake up in some beautiful places. I wake up in a beautiful place every single day, actually. I see great sunsets, great sunrises, I get fresh air, me and Alice get the best times together, we climb mountains, we're out walking, we're out doing things. Even the normal things like watching TV and playing on iPads and playing games and things, it's more enclosed and it's more one-to-one. We're not sat at the opposite end of a house or in separate rooms or anything like that, and that quality time is something that is precious for a parent, but also for a child. But if you don't have children, you've got more reason to get out and travel and don't come back. get out there, travel the world while you're still young if you can. When I was young, I didn't want to travel. I wanted to ride my bike and that was it. But now I'm older, I wish I'd gone back and travelled. I've travelled a lot, I've been to a lot of nice places, but man, I wish I'd seen the world more. I could have done the entire world by now. But there's still time. Alice will grow up and I will retire. I've semi-retired as it is, but I will retire properly and I will be off, enjoying the freedom, whether it's been on the canal network or it's been on the road one day. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you anymore. This was just a quick insight into why and how I do these things. But anyway, check out my other videos. I appreciate you joining me today on this exciting YouTube adventure. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Appreciate you.